Alright, hi guys, what is up? I'm trying to figure out how I'm looking right now, so please excuse what's going on. Hold on. Wait a minute, what's going on? Hold on. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Okay, cool. Alright, what up, everybody? What up? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Welcome to the Moonlight Sessions podcast, guys. I'm gonna see if the girls are on here. Give me a second. Welcome in, welcome in. This is the 11:11 Moonlight Sessions podcast, episode 2 about mental health awareness. We're going to be talking about mental health, anxiety, and all of that. So let me get the girls on. I told them 7, so let me send out the live and everything, and we will get started in just a moment. So give me a moment. I don't know who that sent to. I was not trying to send that to somebody. But hi guys, welcome in, welcome in. Okay, y'all. So I'm waiting on the girls to get in, and then we're gonna get started. I see Winnie. Hi, Winnie. Let me see if Gwen's on here and redefining Tay. Let's see, because I want to get started, y'all. Hey, we're waiting on the other two girls, Winnie, and then we're gonna get started. Okay. Hopefully, like y'all like my background. Like it's literally me. Stop. But yeah, y'all. Do y'all know it took me so long to try to get this background on here, fix it. But yeah. So welcome in. Hi everybody. Make sure y'all tapping the screen. Make sure y'all engage. Make sure y'all watch what y'all say in the comments. Make sure you show love to the panel. I think tonight's episode you guys are really, really gonna like. It's about mental health, anxiety, how to navigate with a loved one who, hi Gwen, welcome in, who has a mental illness as well. So this is gonna be a short live, guys, but hopefully you get, what you need to get from it as well. And make sure y'all are tapping the screen. Make sure y'all engage in the comments. And I am going to ask the panel to come up in just a few seconds. So give me a moment, y'all. I hope everybody's doing okay. Hope y'all are doing good. I think we're waiting on one more person, y'all. I'm trying to see if she's still on here because I did tell her 7, y'all, but I don't see her popping up. But yeah, we are waiting on one more person. One more person. I don't know if she's on here or not. Okay, there she is. What up, Tay? Okay, I'm going to ask Tay, Gwen, and Winnie. I hope I'm saying your name right. Winnie, to go ahead and pop up on the screen, please, so we can get into it. And Winnie, and I have one more invite. There we go. Say, I just sent you the invite. Okay, hi guys.
Hi.
Let's see if she's connected. Yes, there we go.
Hello,
Okay, is
ladies.
it? Hi, Gwen.
Hey.
Gwen, can you turn your camera on, please?
I
And Tay.
I can. I'm about to park right now.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Make sure you tap in the screen. Make sure you grab your daily heart needs. Please and thank you. And join the Moon fam up here. Hi, everybody. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Jay.
Okay, there I go.
Thank you, Jay, for being the number 3 gifter. Thank you. Okay, is everybody ready?
Yes.
Hey. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hi, guys. Thank you for joining in the live. Thank you. It's nice to meet you guys.
Me too.
Okay, so today's live, I already told everybody, but we're going to tell them again for the people that's coming in. These are my 3 panelists. We have Redefining Tay, we have Always Be My Winnie, and we also have Gwen. They're going to be talking to us today about anxiety and what it's like to navigate with a loved one who has a mental illness, and also Black mental health, and what that may look like. So I'm going to hand the floor over to Gwen, and she's going to introduce herself. They're all going to introduce themselves, and we're just going to get into it. So, Gwen.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gwen Harris. I live in Texas. I have been a retail manager for 20 plus years. I am currently a stay at home mom with my 4 children. My youngest is 3. And
Hmm.
me and my husband have been married for 11 years as of last Saturday.
Aw.
Thank you. So that's just a brief description of my life. I actually have 2 people in my family that have mental illness. One is my mother, and the other is my brother. My mom was actually diagnosed with her mental illness when she was about maybe 35. She had a psychotic break when she lost her job because she had a accident at work. So it was a workers comp case, but she did not return to work, and her psychiatrist said that was her trigger. So we actually have mental illness that runs in our family on her side. So my mom is 68. So she's from the generation where they don't talk about it as much. It was kind of hidden. They didn't do therapy or counseling,
Hi, guys. Welcome in. Welcome in.
over the years we learned that we do have a history of mental illness in my family. And then my brother was diagnosed when he was, I believe, 17 or 18. So right before he got out of high school. And both my mom and brother have bipolar disorder, but my mom also has a slight case of schizophrenia as well. I think my
Okay.
brother does too, just because of what my mom has and how she acts. He is parallel to her. Um,
Mm,
but it can be very difficult, especially when you have a parent who has a mental illness. And again, I'm an 80s baby. So we didn't talk about it back then like we talk about it now. So when my mom was depressed and had manic lows, she slept the whole day. She was just asleep. And my dad would just say, "My mom doesn't feel good." That's all he would ever say is, "Mommy doesn't feel good." But as I got older, I was like, well, what's wrong with her? Like, why does she not feel good? It was never explained until I got into high school and they diagnosed my brother. So it kind of just became full circle. So you just learn what their triggers are. I have learned over the years to ensure my mom takes her medication. I have learned what can help her that is not medication. If you have someone in your family who has a mental illness, medication and counseling is essential, but there are things that you could do that is not medication to help them as well. Like my
Mm.
mom, she needs a lot of sunlight. Sunlight provides natural endorphins. So whenever she's kind of acting depressed, I'll tell her, open your blinds, go for a walk. Do you want to go to the park? And I go and I take her outside of the home. That is helpful to her. When I know there is a lifestyle change in her life, that is a trigger for her. So we try to be proactive and make her feel important and welcomed and that she has a purpose. Because when she feels she doesn't have a purpose, she has ep- an episode and it could take her months to get out of it. My mother was hospitalized last year and she hadn't been hospitalized in probably 10 years. And she was in the hospital for like 2 months. And she was in the
Mm.
hospital for 2 months. And the issue was she stopped taking her medication. She had like a sinus infection and the medication didn't mix well. She said it made her feel sick. And we noticed she was acting weird. So it's like, Mom, are you taking your pills? And she just kept telling us yes, but she wasn't. She ran away from home. She we had to call the police to find her. Like it can get really deep. So if you
Okay.
have oh sorry.
I did want to see, does anybody in the chat have a loved one that battles with mental illness? And if so, please comment below if you do. And also, I did want to ask you,
Uh-huh.
um, was your brother also diagnosed with schizophrenia or just the mom?
Just my mom. My brother
Okay.
was only diagnosed with
Hi. Hi, Candy.
bipolar.
Okay. And how do you navigate that, growing up with the mom and the brother also having two different types of mental illness, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't. A lot, a lot of prayer, a
Hmm.
lot of support from friends and family. And like I said, it's just learning what their triggers are and how to help them navigate through it and ensuring that they take their medication, they go to their therapy, and you have a open communication with those people. My mom and my brother are extremely close, but when they're both having an episode, it gets extremely hostile and volatile in our home because they're two different sides of the same coin. When men have mental illness, they tend to be more violent.
Hi,
So
Sophia.
I do see someone said they had a question.
Yes,
Um,
Jay. Hi Jay. Did you have a question for Gwen or me or anyone on the panel? Also, guys, make sure you're loving on my lovely panel here. Make sure you're tapping the screen. Make sure you grab your daily heart needs and make sure you join the Moon Fam because I would love to have you be a part of it. Jay, did you have any questions or anything that you would like to ask or anybody? Do y'all have any questions that y'all would like to ask Gwen about having to navigate with loved ones that have mental illness. Also, I need everybody to make sure you're tapping in, make sure you're engaging in the comments as well. Hi, Devontae.
Okay. He said no. Okay. I was just
Okay, awesome.
yeah, but yeah, it can get very volatile. I remember one time I came home from college and my mother and brother were into it, and my brother punched a hole in like the wall. And the hole is still there. My dad refuses to get it fixed because he wants to just remind us what can happen if we're not careful and we don't ensure that we're doing the proper things to help everyone maintain a safe level at home. So we do not cover up the hole. There's no picture on it or nothing. You walk in our house, it's a huge hole in the wall right across from the bathroom. So you know that you got to do what you got to do to keep it level. And I cannot stress enough, therapy, medication, music, daily walks, hobbies. My mother loves to color. She loves to color and do crossword puzzles. So if she's kind of sad or not, happy, I'll say, hey mama, you want to go to, Five Below and buy new crayons or a word puzzle. Oh, she lights up because she knows that I'm trying to keep her on the correct side. And when they take their meds, they're perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. It's just making sure when their triggers hit, you know how to keep them on that medication. Because once they go off of it, it's very hard to A, get them back on it, and then B, get them to understand the importance of it. Because, sometimes it makes them sleepy, it makes them tired, it may have increased appetite, weight gain, it has side effects. So you have to make sure they understand medication makes them healthy. And it's not a punishment, it's a helpful tool to be successful. So,
Okay, well, thank you, Glenn. I'm gonna bring you back. Stay on the panel. We're now going to switch gears to redefining Tay. So hi, Tay.
Hey, I didn't know if you can hear me or not.
Yeah, so I know that I came across her, you guys. She was part of the Hillman Talk University. And I came across a video of you talking about Black mental health and how to navigate that. And I think this would be very beneficial to all of us of the African American community to really learn about how to navigate towards that and to bring awareness to it and also get the support we need with that. So the floor is now yours.
I think the biggest thing that I refer to myself as an advocate. So I have had family members as well, who were diagnosed, but because it was I guess it's a cliche topic, right? So we dance around it.
Hi,
Um,
Erica.
I've noticed how we don't. I don't know if it's the thing that the Black community is afraid of labels, or we're presented to be so strong that we think nothing can get to us mentally. Uh, Excuse me, and that's also a thing to where you have mental disorders and mood disorders, and there are so many other different things. So I think the biggest place to start would be like, so if you have a family member or if you yourself are questioning things, you can encourage a family member to go to their your primary care doctor, or you yourself go to your primary care doctor. Just be honest with them and let them know what all is going on. Um, and from there, either they will then suggest you either go to therapy or the psychiatry route. The first doctor, because I was diagnosed as well with so I have an anxiety disorder, and then I have I forget the actual name for it, but it's depression. So but the doctor originally suggested that I to go to therapy. And so while
Mm,
that did help, there are times where after therapy is cool, but like we just heard sometimes if that's affecting your mood, you have triggers. So therapy's not going to always be there. So, you can try not saying that what they give you to cope doesn't help. But then psychiatry is there, which was finally my last pitch effort, and because you hear people say they don't want to take medication because they don't want to be considered crazy, or
mm-hmm.
some people don't like how the medication makes you feel, which is one why you should work with a psychiatrist, because they can work with you with dosage and you letting them know, having that conversation and letting them know your symptoms. Um, so that way they can get that together for you. But the thing that I just want African Americans of the Black community to know, that having a mental illness does not mean weakness. It doesn't mean that there's necessarily something wrong with you, just like we don't have issues going to the doctor for like high blood pressure or diabetes or all of those things. We need to make it an open conversation to, oh, I need to go to the doctor because I feel like I'm up a lot of days and then I just crash, or I'm hearing things but other people aren't hearing it, right? So just being open. So that might mean changing providers to a provider that you feel open with saying, hey, I'm feeling this way.
And I think that's a really good thing because some of us deal with a lot of things. Like I deal with anxiety like super, super bad, y'all. And one thing that helps me is being open about it because, like she said, sometimes we're like raised in a, background where it's like, oh, we don't talk about this, or it just stays in the family. And you're often having to cope and find coping mechanisms, hey, to also, cope with these things on your own. And you shouldn't have to battle with these things on your own and feel like you're alone because no one dealing with any type of mental illness should feel like they're alone with these type of symptoms or things that they may deal with from day to day basis. Because I'm gonna tell y'all, my anxiety from day to day is a struggle, and to keep it at bay when I'm very overstimulated is something that is crazy. Like just last month, I had an episode where I was like, I feel like I was spiraling out of control, y'all. Like something was in retrograde, and I just was like, just tripping, just not myself, and I never liked that feeling. So make sure you guys are also getting the help you need. Don't be afraid to seek organizations or support groups or anything. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Make sure you tap the screen and getting the help that you need and raising your voice and being your own advocate. Never feel like you have to sit in silence on something because I used to do it when I was younger and I knew I was always an anxious being. So I was always would tinker with stuff. I was always, catching my mom's eye like, she's always tinkering with something. She's always over here. And, growing up in two different culture background, African American and another race background, you get two different vibes when it comes to speaking up about, oh, well, I have this, or I feel like I have this, or this, because then, you either feel like, oh, you're going to be shunned for it, or they're all like, oh, let's just, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. Like you said, and instead of addressing it head on and getting the help you may need as well. Thank everybody for the love. Thank you for tapping the screen. Thank you for showing love to the panel. Does anybody have any questions for Tay, regarding anything, like, do you have any resources that you can give the Moon Fam to where they can seek, help with any type of mental illness, like a hotline or support
Um,
groups that you may
there
know of?
are hotlines. It's all on my phone, and I'm on here, and I actually need to plug it in. But
Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Make sure you tap on the screen. Grab your daily heart needs.
But since we're in the world of social media, I would start there. Go through social media and find some of those popular therapists. I know Nitra, um, fairly familiar with her stuff on Instagram. But
Mhm.
being able to just start
Hi,
there
Quinna.
to
Welcome
get
in. Welcome in. Grab your
to
daily
just get
heart needs.
comfortable and understanding. So but yeah, there is a bunch of suicide lines, and I am not technologically savvy, so I don't know how to access those without while I'm on here. But
Hmm.
what I can do is share some of that with you, and you can put it out to,
Okay,
um,
awesome.
yep, however I
Okay, let
can.
me get my paper real quick. Okay. Hi, Eloise. What up, girl? Hi, everybody coming in. Make sure you grab your daily heart needs. Make sure you're loving on my panel. If there's any questions that you need to ask, don't be afraid to ask. Join the Moon Fam because we would love to have you. This is a space where everybody is welcome and loved on, and you ain't gotta fear asking any questions. Okay, y'all. Y'all can ask me anything. You can ask my panel anything. This is a safe place. Y'all are all good. But yes, okay. So hi, Olivia. Hey, welcome in. So, what was the resources you had for them so I can share it with them?
Oh, that's what I was saying. So it's
Hi,
all I
Abby.
have notes. So like the phone numbers and websites are actually in my notes that I don't have in front of me. So that's why I was saying if I can send it to you. I don't know if you have a way of getting it out to your audience.
Yes, I do. Just send it to
Okay.
me and then I'll, get it to them. Hey, D Lovely, what up? Hey, welcome in, welcome in. Grab your daily heart needs. Is there anything else you wanted to share with them on how to navigate with that? And you know, like different coping mechanisms, like breath work or anything like that,
Oh
they can
yeah,
do to
yeah,
get
yeah, yeah.
themselves
So
calm.
some of the my biggest thing is always making sure we see the professionals first. But if we're looking for ways to cope, there's always journaling. Guided journaling is really good. So you're not just having to sit there and just write what comes to mind. It can kind of
Mhm.
direct your thoughts so you'll know what you're actually dumping out. And then it just gets you thinking in another way. What like you just mentioned with breath work, guided meditation is also good. When people have, I know I can speak for myself with my own anxiety, like meditation things where like you're not supposed to think about anything, those are really a struggle for me,
Mhm.
especially accompanying that with the depression. So my thoughts are always going to be negative, well, not always be, but they're going to lean toward that way. So, guided meditation, or what we also call mindfulness,
Hey,
where
Rich.
visualization, those are all things that you can do that give you time to just sit with yourself. I know in the beginning, sometimes just sitting and being still is a little difficult for people. So you can just start off small. Maybe you start off with the 5 minute mindfulness or guided meditation. And once you feel comfortable with that, you can start to increase the time frame, and then just make sure you sit and journal with it afterwards.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jay. Thank you for all the love. Thank you.
Yep. Consistency is absolutely key. Because anytime you go off of that, I just know if there's a moment where my mind is racing, then that's a time to do mindfulness, because it gives you a time to really just sit, and then you can recognize your thoughts. Like, oh, this thought is having me tense up, so maybe I should think about something else. So just paying attention to your body too.
Okay. And Jay had a very good question. He said tips for de-escalating. Are you saying de-escalating anxiety? Is that what you're asking, Jay? Hi, Kay. Welcome in. Thank you, Kay. Thank you. Thank you for being the top number three gifter. Hi, love. Welcome in. Jay, are you asking de-escalation for anxiety? Like how to de-escalate it once it's approaching? If so, the best thing I do is I try to do like breath work, like different breath techniques. It says de-escalating with someone
Oh,
who doesn't want to take their meds. Um, Gwen, you want to take that one? Okay, maybe not. Okay.
I just had to turn back
um,
my mic. I'm sorry. I would, for someone that does not want to take their meds, I would definitely have them seek counseling, because if you need medication, you need medication. It's because
Mm-hmm.
where anxiety may be something you can control without a pill, bipolar is not. Schizophrenia is not. You can't control that. It is a physical chemical imbalance in
Imbalance.
the brain. So you're putting meds in there to correct or offset the imbalance. So we have to keep in mind when we're saying people don't want to take medication. Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
what are they diagnosed with? Can they do other techniques to not have to take medication, or do they need medication? Because if they need medication, that is where family support comes in, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to get them to understand medication keeps you healthy. And that works for my mom, because my mom, it's gonna sound bad, I promise you, but for her it works.
Hi,
we have
Navy.
we have to remind her what she has to lose when she goes into the hospital. We have to say, hey, if you don't take these pills, you go in the hospital. You can't see me, you can't see your grandchildren, you can't see your husband, you can't see, dad, you can't see people, because you are in a institution that will not allow you, because you're not taking medication. That's the other thing. If they don't take pills in the hospital, they cannot see outside people. They can call them, but they cannot physically see them. You have to take your meds and earn people to come in and see you. So we have to get her to understand the importance of what she's going to lose if she doesn't,
Absolutely, Kay.
and that works. But someone who, as you guys said, you have anxiety, nervousness, or anything that does not need medication, breath work, meditation, coloring, walking, music, anything that you have learned to help you de escalate how you feel inside, that's what you have to do. But first, you have to be diagnosed correctly. And I would tell that to anybody.
Exactly.
mhm.
And Jay also had a question. He said, what was my thoughts on how to de-escalate an anxiety? So I deal with really bad anxiety attacks. Thank you, Kay. And what one thing that I've always do is I've always tried to make sure I go off somewhere where I can have a moment to myself and really just channel and focus in on being in that present moment and silence the noise around me so that I can hear myself and get myself back grounded to where I need to be in that present moment. So that's one thing that has helped me. Like she said, breath work, rechanneling, refocusing on something bigger than what's causing me to have this anxious spirit or having anxiety. Thank you so much. And, being in this state so I can get myself back to it. whew, back to ground level. And that has always helped me. Now, it may not help everybody. Everybody's anxiety is different. There's different stages of anxiety as well. There's coping anxiety. There's anxiety that comes and stems off of built up stress. There's anxiety from an anxious brain and anxious being. This one, me, literally me, anxious being, anxious brain, and some more to where I have to, people literally see me. Y'all see me messing with this doggone pen, and some more. So it's like I have to really talk to myself and be like, okay, you're feeling anxious. What is making causing you to feel anxious? Let's focus on that. Let's also try to, get your mind off of that. So I have fidgets. I have things that, I tinker with throughout the day that helps me stay focused. I have times where I have to go excuse myself and really just woosah, okay? Have a woosah moment. So that might help you, Jay, as well. Also, like Gwen said, there may be things that are different hobbies. I love to dance. I am a dancer. So I do dance and do things that make me feel good, that makes me, get my mind off of being so anxious in a space where I feel like I'm in a safe haven, where I feel like, whatever is causing me such anxiety or such an anxious spirit, I am able to express that and let it out. I don't have to, conceal that, because we're all taught sometimes you have to conceal this and conceal that. We should never feel like we have to conceal even the not so pretty side of us every single day. We should be able to have a moment to just let it out and just have a moment to exhale when we inhaled so much. So that's what I would say, Jane. Hopefully that helped you. Um, Hi, Winnie. So, Winnie, did you want to give anybody any advice, tips, or anything on navigating anxiety and anything? She is a therapist, guys. So make sure you show love to her. And hi, welcome in, Winnie.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, so my name is Winnie. I'm a licensed therapist here in Texas. I heard that Gwen is also in Texas. Am
We're
I
always
correct?
hey, Texas
We're all in
girls.
Texas. Which area are you guys from?
I'm in Fort
I
Worth.
can't say on the live.
Okay, no problem. If you're not comfortable sharing, that's okay. And what did you say, Gwen?
I'm in Fort Worth.
Fort Worth, okay. And I'm in Houston. So, um, I am loving all of the suggestions that you guys have given so far, and a lot of points and a lot of key things that I'm hearing with anxiety. And I want to touch on, especially what Jay was saying, how anxiety is some key things that I'm hearing with anxiety. And I want to touch on, especially what Jay was saying, how anxiety is stored within the body. Every part of every single emotions or feelings that we have as a human is stored within our bodies, and being able to connect with your body and release it in some type of way is a really helpful thing. Like Jay was saying, how the way that she express her anxiety or be able to get rid of her anxiety or calm herself down or regulate is to dance, or as Tay was saying, how she journals, walking, breathing, exercising, guided meditation, visualization. All of those things are great. I think one other thing that I would recommend is something that I actually do myself. And because we hold so much tension whenever we are anxious, it's the intentionality. It's something called progressive muscle relaxation. And that is where you focus your mind on a specific parts of your body, and you tense it up as much as you can, hold it for a few seconds, then release it. It's the intentional holding of that tension and recognizing and then releasing it is whenever you feel the most relaxed in a type of way. And how you do that is from your starting from your head. Maybe you bunch your eyebrows, squinch up your face, raise up your shoulders, tense your fist, sorry, and then work through from the top of your head to the bottom of your toes until you're done. I found that to be the most helpful. And one other thing is, I find that whenever you're going through an anxiety attack or panic attacks, a lot of the clients that I worked with, sometimes it's just crisis intervention. It's just to need something to shock your system out of feeling that overwhelming feeling of anxiety and overwhelming feeling of tension. One quick thing that I found worked for most clients is having sour candy on you and being able to, whenever you're feeling that those panic attacks coming or you're feeling those sensations, eating a really sour candy or something maybe really spicy like cinnamon, for example, or Sour Patch. I don't think Sour Patch is that, you know, it's sour. What other things? Warheads tends to calm you down from that, or a lot of the clients that I've worked with, really well. And another thing is, in order to shock your body out of that feeling of tension and anxiety, you can also use ice, holding ice or running your hand in really cold water. I find that to be able to be really helpful as well. So, yeah. I don't know if.
Winnie, I had a question. Have you
Yes.
ever recommended for like relaxation, like massages or a sauna or
Mm-hmm.
like spa therapy? Because someone, one of my mother's doctors was like, they think that she should try massage therapy, not weekly, but maybe monthly, something that's
Mm-hmm.
like a self care. But my
Mm.
mother doesn't really like to be touched, so that didn't
Mm.
work for her. But
Mm.
have you ever recommended any anything like that? And do you see value in it?
Absolutely. I think that touches on the topic of self-care, right? Doing something that makes you
Right.
feel good. And especially with those with schizophrenia or struggling with schizophrenia and bipolar, keeping a routine and a schedule is a very important thing because it keeps you organized and being able to stay within the realm of reality that they are in and staying within the present. And
Yeah.
and yes, I do see the value in doing massage therapy because that can, release your tensions on your muscles and everything. I'm not a massage therapist, so I don't know much about it, but I think it can be helpful in the sense that if it becomes a regular routine and a form of self care, I think it would be really great to be able to implement it within your daily schedules. Maybe for your mom, it might not be, massage therapy, but something that she finds to be really helpful or something for her to be able to feel relaxed in a type of way.
Yeah, she ended up
Hmm.
going with getting her nails done. That ended
Yes.
up being something that she thought she could do. She has very long nails. She normally does them at home herself.
Hmm.
So we told her that, if you want to like get out and do like a girls' day, like once a month or something like that, we
Hmm.
can take you to get your nails done. And she was like, "Oh, I would like that." So just again, just learning how to give them the smallest amount of joy to help them to have something to look forward to, I
Hmm.
have found is the best way to keep them even. And then knowing if the schedule changes, like you said, if there is the slightest change in anything, the slightest change in a routine. I remember when I got married, my mom went in the hospital because I was no longer coming to the house often. I was moving out, and it sent her on a tailspin. And it took us about maybe a month. And then we were like, mom's kind of acting strange. And like that next month, we instantly knew. We were like, okay, she's going to end up in the hospital. And that was probably the first time that I really saw my mom sick. because she's been on medication since my mom was 35. So she's had pills my whole life. My whole life. Now, my sister is 9 years older than me. So she saw my mom without medication and prior to her diagnosis. So we handle my mom totally differently because of how we grew up with her. So, with that being said, would you also recommend when someone is diagnosed with a mental illness to do family therapy? Because that helped us as well. All win.
Yes, absolutely. I think whenever there is a family member or family members who are struggling with mental disorders and their mental health, it's not only the stress on
Drop
that
moons in
person
the chat.
themselves,
Drop moons in the chat.
but it also creates a lot of anxiety and nervousness and stress within the people who are living with them or who are close to them. And it's can be really difficult to be able to navigate through it because you don't know the tools and the techniques or the skills to be able to help them. And sometimes doing I really, really suggest family therapy whenever we are dealing or we are working with those with more such as schizophrenia or bipolar disorders, because those can affect relationships really, 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 really the most. It impacts relationships the most. And so, yes, family therapy, I'm all for it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Been
Thank
very
you, Quina.
Thank you for your question. But yeah, and then I think another thing that personally I found to be really helpful with anxiety is that whenever I'm having an anxious thought, I recognize that it is not me, and I don't identify with the anxiety or the anxious thought. So, for example, if I'm anxious about, I don't know, say a person is anxious about their significant other dying, for example, and recognizing that, saying to myself, oh, my partner is going to die, I am going to be like, I notice that I'm having the thought or the anxiety thought that my partner is going to die. It just separates myself from the actual anxious thoughts themselves and being able to
Hi,
talk about it
Jonathan. Welcome in. Hi,
in a way that it
Thank
doesn't
you.
define me and it's not who I am as
Hey,
a person
Barbara.
is really helpful.
I don't know what I missed, y'all. I'm sorry. TikTok kicked me out of my own live. This happened to me the first one too, so
Oh
I don't
no.
know. But yeah, I don't know what I missed. I guess Tay had to go, y'all. She did mention to me she can only stay on for so long, so I hate that she had to leave because I did want to thank y'all at the end for showing up and everything. I did want to get some more, things with her, but I'm guessing she had to leave, so we just gonna keep going. So does anybody have any questions for Winnie or Gwen? Also, we're talking about mental health and anxiety and how to navigate with that. So, does anybody else have any questions that you would like to ask Winnie or Gwen or me dealing with anxiety that we can help y'all with? If so, drop them in the comment sections down below or anything that you would like to touch bases on. I see Jay making a comment. Let me stroll up. He said separating ourselves from thoughts. So he was just saying that that was a good point. I feel like that was a good point too, as well. We have to sometimes get out of ourselves, in order to really be able, or the world around us, get out of what's going on around us to be able to really hear ourselves. So that is a good point. And he said, any tips with um, cultivating good mental health practices? So things that he can do to practice good mental health. on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that comes with do you want to take this answer first, or do you want me to answer?
I'll answer first and then you can go.
Oh, okay.
I would say just making sure you have the right mindset. Always making sure that you're channeling in, you're refocusing yourself. You're also making sure that you're aware of how you're feeling in that present moment and not, just going through the motions and allowing yourself to actually feel that. So I would say that's a good practice. Another practice is also working on breath work, working on breath techniques to get yourself back grounded. Also, another one I would say would be also making sure you're cautious of your surroundings because also, hi, thank you. Also, your surroundings can be a trigger. I'm a teacher, and I'm telling you, I have to sometimes just woosah. I ain't gonna lie, because it can be very overstimulating to a person with anxiety. I don't know who this person is, but hi, welcome in. Make sure you're liking the screen and join the Moon fam. That's all I ask. I don't ask you for nothing else. I don't know what you're talking about, but okay, join the Moon fam. But thank you. So I hope that helps, Jay. Winnie's gonna stem in now. Hi, Tara.
Hi, yeah, I really like the point. And to go back to what I was saying earlier, I think keeping a
Hi,
routine and being
hi, P.
consistent
I don't know how to say your name, but
is
hi, P.
one of the most important thing to be able to actually practice good mental health practices and not overwhelming yourself with so many different new habits that because if you let's say you want to go to the gym and you want to work on your arms and you want to work on your legs and you want to go all the way you want to go to the gym and you want to work on your arms and you want to work on your legs and you want to go all the way because you will lose that motivation very soon, or it would be too overwhelming and too difficult and you won't be able to continue that on a very consistent schedule. And just very similar to that, doing good mental health practices, I think Nika brought up a really good point about noticing your feelings, noticing how you are in the moment, check in with yourself. Maybe take out several minutes of the day to check in with yourself. How are you feeling? Where are you feeling it in your body? There's also anxiety is something whenever your body is feeling anxious, it always is a signal or a warning or it's a sign of something. Your body is trying to tell you something. So in order to be able to, listen to that anxiety or listen to those anxious thoughts and be like, what do I need in this moment? Maybe the anxious thought might not be true or it might be not rational in the moment, but it's telling you something about your body and being able to check in with yourself.
And I would also suggest I would suggest getting a journal and make goals and actually think about what causes you to be anxious. Maybe it's the things you eat. Are you eating too heavy in the morning or at night? Does you eating a certain food at night cause you to have bad dreams, which causes bad thoughts, which causes
Mm-hmm.
anxiety? Even people you hang around, even if it's family, just does family make you nervous or anxious or uncomfortable? All of those, actually taking stock of what your life is the first step to me to good mental health practices. Because I will give a great example of family. My mom has a sister. Her sister is her trigger. She is a trigger for her. So my dad have to set boundaries. So she can't just pop up. She has to call. She has to have a scheduled visit. My mom can't eat after 7. She can't eat anything heavy. It gives her bad dreams. And it sounds so small and so simple, but those are the things that you have to be aware of that will help you understand your body. So when you feel anxious or nervous or depressed or concerned, you can track why you feel that way. So when
Mhm.
you do go to seek a therapist, you have your journal of what you've been going through, and you can create a plan with that person on how to best help yourself because you know yourself. Would you agree, Winnie? Yes, no? Am I like on
Yeah,
point?
no, 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 no. You brought up really good points, and thank you for mentioning journaling because I know in this day and age, a lot of people actually, there are so many apps now on your phone that can actually track those emotions or those feelings and how you're feeling throughout the day, and it gives you reminders on when to record it. And if anybody is interested, I can give you a list of apps that I have. And I think that is really convenient because you can look back at your process and, sometimes checking in with your feelings and how you're feeling in the moment can be really helpful to be able to recognize patterns or what is triggering you
Right.
and being able to recognize if this is something that is triggering for me, what can I do to prevent it from happening? Or how do I cope with it and how do I stay with the discomfort whenever it happens? Because you can't get rid of anxiety, right? I think everybody feels anxious at one point or another in their life. Anxiety in itself is normal. Having a little bit of anxiety can be a good thing or it can be productive. It can it can prevent you from doing something dangerous or something risky. But whenever anxiety is debilitating and it's making you overthink or it's too overwhelming and you feel like you can't function normally with it, that's whenever anxiety can be a little bit counterintuitive or counterproductive. Yes, were you going to say something, Gwen?
I was, because you brought up anxiety, and it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
sound childish, but it's the truth. If you are an adult and you have not seen Inside Out 1 and 2, I would
Oh my
recommend,
God, those movies made me cry.
especially 2. 2 really hits on anxiety. And I feel like as adults, we don't realize that children's movies handle adult topics for children. And
Mm-hmm.
Inside Out, if you feel like you are having
Me
mental
too.
anxiety or anything like that, I would recommend Inside Out 2.
Hi Z.
I would say one first because it's a set and it's a great series of movies. And then take notes about how you feel and go from there because it is a really good movie and it deals a lot with
Mm-hmm.
anxiety from the view of a 13-year-old,
You're all.
but it can work for an adult as well. So I think
And
those
I
are good.
also like, that's a good thing that you mentioned Inside Out. I also like how if you see it on the first one, you see the thoughts of not only Riley, you see the thoughts of her mom, you see the thoughts of her
Yes,
dad, and
everybody's
how
thoughts,
the mom and dad also have their panel of people of
emotions,
anger, of anxiety, of joy, of sadness, of
sadness,
emo, of all
embarrassment.
those anxiety, of all those emotions. And that is a good movie to stem off of
It
because I was just watching that the other day with one of my students.
mhm.
And it really does show you how we all are navigating, how we're all battling the voices in our heads, how those voices in our heads are battling each other. Like, oh no, I want her to be happy. I want her to be sad. I want her to be mad. I want her to be this. I want to be that. But in all reality of it, it's like you get bits and pieces of those emotions, but how you navigate towards those, how you collect yourself through those different emotions from a day-to-day basis speaks volumes, and it's a testament to who you are and how far you've come. And like when he was saying, don't get so overwhelmed with one that you are ignoring the other ones as well, because you may feel, oh, like my anxiety is high. But you may also feel sad. You may also feel this. You may also feel that. Just the other day, I was stopped at work by someone and they were like, oh, you didn't speak to me, basically. I didn't hear you speak to me. Mind you, I didn't hear this person speak to me. And it was a thing about her saying, oh, she felt like tension or something on me. Mind you, I was not angry, I was not tense or anything like that, but my anxiety was super, super high, and my mind wasn't even focused on her or let alone anyone at that given moment to even notice her, to be honest with you. So that's another thing. Let's talk about that. That's another thing that I would like to, bring to the forefront. I hate when people feel like they have to point out certain things instead of come to you in private and ask you, hey, are you dealing with this or are you dealing with that? Sometimes people do mean well, but in this case, I don't think that person meant well. I think they were like just trying to tinker to get some information out of me. Um, it's a whole backstory with that. I'll make another podcast with that. But yeah. So hi, Killa. But I feel like we often shy away from it because I feel like at work I can't be me at work. I cannot be me. My anxiety cannot be present because there's always going to be somebody bothering me. There's always going to be somebody pulling me to the side, like, oh, I feel like you're tense. I feel like you're this. I feel like you're that. Let me know if that happens to you at work too, or just anywhere you go. You feel like, oh, if I'm having anxiety or if I'm feeling these different emotions, like Gwen was saying, that I can't be present in that emotion because it's going to be used against me, or people are going to think, oh, she's this, oh, she's that. When really I'm struggling with something at the moment that I'm trying to make myself be more grounded. I'm trying to get to a place. Yes, it's a spiritual warfare. It really is. And I'm telling y'all, I'm a teacher and I feel like my job with not all the coworkers, but some of the coworkers I deal with, I cannot be present with that because there's always going to be issue of, oh, they didn't speak to me today. So they're angry. They're angry. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. Or they didn't hear me speak. That was the issue. I didn't hear the lady speak because I'm rushing. I was already late. So I told off on myself and said I was late to work. That's another thing. I feel like you have those pick me's, and people want to see if they can, this. And it's very triggering to me at work because I feel like I have to really be quiet. And when you're quiet and you're this, because you're trying to ground yourself from people seeing, like, oh, what if I go into an anxiety attack at work and they see it? They're going to like study, just nitpick, and make it to where I'm overstimulated to where I can't hear myself and I can't get back grounded. So at work, I literally be quiet. I literally don't interact with them. I don't really say too much because I'm an anxious being. So, Winnie, I wanted to ask you, how do I navigate towards that, especially in that type of environment with certain coworkers or a boss, so to speak?
Sorry, I muted my mic. Yeah, I
Oh,
think that's a really good question. I can definitely relate to you in that sense, where, whenever you're at work, especially at work or with different groups of people, you have a different persona because, especially at work, sometimes you want to put up, a competent and that you're able to do your work and you're not able to be yourself because whenever you do, it is used against you. And not having supportive coworkers or employers who are able to understand you from that against you, and not having supportive coworkers or employers who are able to understand you from that perspective. And of course, you don't owe anybody an apology, right? Or you don't owe anybody an explanation for how
exactly.
you are responding or how you're behaving. And so one thing that I found really helpful is recognizing that people come from different backgrounds and everyone has something that is going on in their life. And one thing that I would always say is nothing is personal. Don't take it personally. Which sounds very difficult to practice, but what I found to be helpful is
Hi, Don.
understanding that if somebody is
Hi,
upset or
Divine.
they're acting rude towards me or being passive aggressive or nitpicking, it's something that has to do with them and most likely not to do with me as a person. And
Mm-hmm.
so, understanding that, you know, a lot of times it might not be you because you're doing your job, you're doing the best that you
Hi,
can.
Gaston.
Um,
Hey.
as long as you are being also kind and understanding of others, I don't think that reacting to somebody who is at an elevated stage or at a passive aggressive and matching that energy would actually solve any problems or being able to improve your communications or how you work together. But not engaging or giving into that same energy will actually be really helpful.
Yes, I don't. I mean, I'm gonna share a little backstory. I don't know who all on here, so I have to be mindful of what I'm saying because I don't want to be taken in the wrong sentence or taken back to them people. 'Cause I don't know who all on here. But it was like a situation where I felt harassed by another employee that's close to that person. So ever since then, I feel like they just, watching you and every movement, every facial expression, every being quiet, or even if you're talking or this or that. Can y'all mute your mics? Um, Somebody's echoing. But yeah, it's just crazy because I feel like you have to also be, I feel like you have to, it causes me anxiety. I swear it does. Every day when I'm walking down that hallway at my job, it causes me anxiety. And people don't know that. I'll laugh and, smile with the kids and things like that, but it caused me great anxiety stemming off of that situation. It's like, be danged if you do, be danged if you don't, because somebody's going to point out, oh, she looks angry. Oh, she looks tired. Oh, she looks this. And for that person to pull me aside because I didn't hear them speak and say, "Oh, you look angry, you look tense, you look passive aggressive," and it's like that's not of me, that's not of my character. And even when you don't react, it's like, okay, you don't react, so I'm gonna keep on and keep on and keep on, and that causes me great anxiety at that job. Like I tell you, that's why I'm only hang out with certain people, I only talk to certain people, or I go off to myself because it's like, I'm not gonna say who, please don't do that. Um, Out of respect, because I don't know who's on here watching. But it's just mainly just crazy. Yeah, they approached me and pulled me off to the side and like said little comments. But I hate that they think, oh, well, because she don't talk and she's not this or she's not that, she's angry. I'm not angry. I'm not an angry person. I deal with anxiety. And if you ever dealt with anxiety, you're just an anxious being. So you can get very overwhelmed and overstimulated. Hi, Chad. By a lot of different things. And so I'm just quiet in general half the time. If I don't feel comfortable with you, I'm not gonna be chit chatting and kikiing and cockeying and all up your behind and all that. I don't do that. That's not me. And then when you've seen a, let's say, mean girl type of persona or just something that's very not becoming, you don't want to be a part of that or associated with that. So that's why. I feel like maybe that's why. But yeah, my anxiety just walking through that hallway every single day, people don't even know it. It'd be so high because I'm like, oh, here we go again. So yeah, I do agree with Winnie. You react, it's a problem. You don't react, it's a problem. So yeah, I would also say just try to just be in the present, silence the noise, and try to stay as grounded as possible in workplaces or in your family, in friendships, or just in general in certain groups that escalate your anxiety or escalate you getting overstimulated, so to speak. Oh, and pray, yeah, keep God always first. But yeah, I think that's about it. Did anybody have any questions for the panel or me before we go ahead and close out? I am sorry for TikTok kicking me out, y'all. I don't know what's been going on leading up to this band or whatever. It's been kicking me out my own live twice. I apologize. Hopefully y'all got what y'all needed out of this live. I am currently working on podcast number 3. So I will let y'all know when that's happening. Please show love to my panel and everything. But before we go, did anybody else have anything that they wanted to ask about anxiety or anything else before Gwen and Winnie say their goodbyes and me? If so, drop them now. Thank you, Jay.